Which one do you want? They're gooey, they're buttery, and chocolate. 2 layers of goodness right here in my cake bars. Let's make them. Now to make the gooey chocolate butter cake bars, as you can see, these are the only ingredients that you're going to need, and there's 7 of them. And the first one is going to be your cake mix. I'm using the dark chocolate fudge because that just sounds delicious. But you can use any type of chocolate cake mix that you want. Even a devil's food cake would be great with this recipe. You're going to need some vanilla extract. You're going to need 1 stick or half a cup of very soft butter. Now, what I like to do is pull this out the night before and just let it rest on my countertop to get nice and, you know the word, squishy. That's what you want, all right? Now, I've got 4 eggs, and what I did was just bring these to room temperature, so I just pulled them out about 30 minutes or so before I'm going to make this recipe. Just let them sit on the countertop. Now, these are going to be divided. So there's going to be 2 at the beginning of the recipe and 2 at the other part of it. And you're going to need some cream cheese. I have 1 block, which is 8 ounces, and you want this at room temperature also. So while I'm pulling the eggs out, I'm pulling out the cream cheese. It needs to set out for an hour to get nice and, what's the word? Squishy, right? You're going to need some unsweetened cocoa powder. Now this is what I use right here. And then you're going to need a whole lot of powdered sugar. So I had to go get another bag of this. Make sure I had enough. Okay, now we're going to be using a large mixing bowl, an electric hand mixer to get started. There's going to be 2 layers. They're going to come together pretty quickly, and then it's all going to bake together as 1 cookie bar. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. In the large mixing bowl, we're going to empty out 1 box of chocolate cake mix. Now this is 15.25 ounce size cake mix. All right, to the cake mix, we're going to add in the 1 stick or half a cup of very soft, squishy butter. Make sure you get it all out of there. What kind of butter do y'all like to use? Now this is salted butter. You can use unsalted if you want. I'm using the Kerrygold Irish butter. We're going to blend this until it's well combined. You want that butter into that cake mix. What we're going to do is crack 1 egg in. We're going to beat that in. And then we'll crack the other egg in. Boop. All right, we're going to mix that in. Now we want to mix this until everything is incorporated in the bowl here. Now it's going to be a thick batter. There we go. Perfect. We're going to be baking in a 9 by 13 baking dish, and we're going to spray it with some nonstick cooking spray. Now I like to use the Baker's Joy, or you can use a non-brand. This is the one that has baking spray with the flour in it. There we go. Now we're going to bring the cake batter over here, and we're going to spoon it into the baking dish. Now we're using the 9 by 13. We're going to need it. You're going to think not, but when you see it done, you're going to go, oh, that's why. Okay. So I'm going to spoon the batter all over the baking dish here. That way it's easy to spread. Thomas wanted to try this recipe out, so we're doing that. Now the best tool to use to spread that evenly across your baking dish is a offset spatula. So the offset spatula is going to look like this right here. And it really helps to spread out any kind of frostings, icings, cake batters, whatever you got that's thick, so that it goes where you want it. There we go. So just take and spread this evenly across the bottom. Nice and even. Now the cake mix does have a leavening agent in it that will help rise the cake. Yeah, this is very fudgy consistency. Try to get it nice and even. All right, there it is. Let's make that second layer. So when you're making that second layer, you are going to be using your electric hand mixer again. So what you want to do is just clean off your beaters and then get a separate bowl. Now I'm in a large mixing bowl, and we're going to add in the 1 pack of cream cheese, 8 ounces. Now I'm using the block, and you want to make sure this is very soft, like I talked about at the very beginning. All right, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is just blend this for just about 30 seconds or so to get that nice and creamy before we start adding stuff. There we go. You just want to break it up, get it moved around the bowl somewhat like that. There we go. All right, what did y'all miss? I had the cream cheese in there that we blended until it was nice and soft in there. Then I added in the 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. That was the unsweetened version. And then I added in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I think y'all missed that whole section right here, and I'm very sorry for that. And then I cracked 2 eggs into a bowl, added it in there, and then we just blended it with the electric hand mixer until we had a good mix on it like this. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to go in and still combine our powdered sugar, which we're going to be doing about 4 cups. So we're going to put in 1 cup at a time and get that mixed in. Now this is a dessert, you guys. So I love how when I make a dessert, y'all are like, oh, it's too sweet, it's too this. Well, it is a dessert. We're going to put it on a low setting. There we go. And we're going to get that mixed in. And then we'll add the 2nd cup. Now, we're not going to see what happens, but y'all, things happen, right? There we go. There's my mess. All right, let's add the 2nd cup. I'll clean all that up for y'all. I got a dog down here. Oh my gosh. Thomas is happy for the dessert. But is he happy that people are coming over to eat his dessert? Those people will be Megan and Joseph. So we're excited to have them over. All right, that's 2. All right, what I'm going to do now is add that last cup of powdered sugar in. 4. And then we'll clean up this mess, the powdered sugar. Sorry, you guys. Make sure you get your spatula and start pulling down the sides at this point so we can get all of that powdered sugar incorporated. This is a new recipe for us. Yes, it is. So we're super excited about it. It looks delicious. I've made ooey gooey cakes before, but not this way. So, all right, you should have a nice creamy consistency there. Now, if you do, you're ahead of the gang. So am I. Yeah, nice and smooth. Did y'all see that coming? Look at that. All right, we're gonna pour this on top of the cake batter in the 9x13 baking dish. All right, all we did was take this batter, that cream cheese cocoa one, and poured it right on top of the cake mix. We're just gonna spread it out nice and even. We're not combining this with that bottom layer. We're just setting it right on top. There we go. All right, I'm just gonna clean off the edges here. I've got my oven preheated at 350 degrees. We're gonna bake this for 45 minutes, and then we're gonna cool it down completely before we cut it into bars. Y'all gonna see the magic happen. Gooey chocolate butter cake bars. It's 2 layers baked into one. Let's cut these up. Let me show you the final product. All right, cut them like brownies. Which one do you want? They're gooey, they're buttery, and chocolate. 2 layers of goodness right here in my cake bars. Thomas is brewing more coffee. Here's my bite. What is going on? We got that cake layer down there on the bottom. Oh my goodness. And then we have that cocoa cream cheese mixture on top. Wow. So it's like a cake on the bottom, and it's kind of a gooiness on the top. Chocolate all the way through. Those are delicious. You need a fork for it. All right, you guys. I think Thomas has his eye on this plate right here, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Thumbs up on this one on my gooey chocolate butter cake bars. Look at that. I think Joseph and Megan are going to be happy tonight. Thomas has to give some up. There will be some left.
I may hide them.
There'll be some left. All right, you guys, thumbs up on our dessert day today. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to hype, comment, share, and I'm going to say it again, thumbs up. All right, you guys, I'll see y'all on the next episode. You know I post almost every other day and sometimes more. I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.